going in a new direction for the DCU, but the DCEU itself didn't need to exist in order for Wonder Woman to be one of the most recognizable characters or be a household name like some of the Avengers cast. Despite being the most iconic female superhero of all time and making a huge stance in the genre, there are a decent amount of people who surprisingly don't give the character as much credit as she deserves. Shockingly enough, it seems as if DC doesn't do much with her outside of the recent live-action films. This year alone, the world's finest are getting entries in the animation department, with Batman Caped Crusader releasing in August on Prime Video, having a more 1940s inspired aesthetic. Then there's the second season of My Adventures with Superman, choosing Supergirl to the mix and seeing more of the dynamic between Jimmy, Lois, and Clark. So, like, where's that Wonder Woman animated series go? The character has been around since 1941 and has been a main character in both Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And to this day, Wonder Woman somehow still doesn't have an animated show. Dog, freaking Kite Man is getting an animated TV show before Wonder Woman, which is a spin-off of the Harley Quinn animated series on Max.
All I know is when I was a kid, I'd sit in my room and I'd dream about being a supervillain. My mom would not.
This is just one example of the lack of Wonder Woman mythos being pushed in comparison to Batman and Superman. James Gunn did state that he's been trying to get a Wonder Woman animated show up and running ever since he was on board to be the co-CEO of DC Studios, so here's hoping that something at some point. Everybody has their favorite interpretation of Batman and Superman. Oh, the DCAU is the best. Oh no, the Arkham series is actually my favorite. Christopher Reeve's Superman really resonated with me. Oh nah, Henry Cavill was my first one. I'm sure Wonder Woman has had several adaptations, but the discussions surrounding said adaptation, I feel as if she needs a more diverse depictions across mediums to explore different aspects of her mythos in gaming, animation, and live action. Because even though she's very well known and iconic, the same can't really be said for her rogues gallery or supporting cast. The most out-of-pocket takes I've heard on Wonder Woman come from the people who severely downplay her significance in the comic book genre. I've seen debates on who's the fourth most iconic superhero of all time after Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Some people say Hulk, Wolverine, maybe the Flash. Now, I like her though. But some of y'all really think the fourth most iconic superhero is Iron Man? More iconic than Wonder Woman? Iceman is a great character. I'm not discrediting his impact on the comic book genre. Absolutely insane to think Iron Man's popularity was anywhere near that of DC's movies before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was even a thing. The big three of Marvel, without a doubt, pre-MCU was Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine. Anytime I would see a post like this on Twitter or some other social media platform, I'd see comments revolted on the idea of Wonder Woman being considered the fourth most iconic hero. W except for Wonder Woman. Should have put Captain America instead. Yes, sir. Iron Man and Cap are not as like hero. W except for Wonder Woman. Should have put Captain America instead. Yes, sir. Iron Man and Cap are not as iconic as Marvel's OG Big Three, and Iron Man is certainly not more iconic than Diana who's Skip. Strip. There was literally a short period of time where the fictional character of Wonder Woman in real life was appointed an honorary ambassador of the empowerment of women and girls for the United Nations. But then a couple months later, the UN dropped her as an ambassador after some criticism and controversy surrounding that decision. A bunch of goddamn cowards is what they are. Them niggas at the UN, a bunch of frauds, I'd say. They made a mistake. I find it funny that the women who complain about Wonder Woman being an ambassador claim she has big breasts bursting out of a skimpy outfit and a possibly tiny waist. Okay, saying how it's sending the wrong message to girls about meeting a male standard as a sexual object. So these people claim that they fight for gender equality, but then immediately judge one woman's character based on her appearance and not by reading her stories or looking who she is as a character, while also saying her body shape isn't appropriate to represent female empowerment. The lack of understanding of Wonder Woman's iconic nature is exactly why I hate the DCEU. The irrefutable damage that universe has done to the DC brand and its characters is tragic. You've got folk out here thinking Superman's boring, Batman's a brutal, psycho anti-hero with no moral code, or Wonder Woman not being interesting enough to have compelling stories. I mean, the first Wonder Woman movie was solid, but like, that's it. It was all downhill from there. From that horrendous joke Joss Whedon did into this Justice League film.
What if I told you investing wasn't just for it's for everyday folks like you. And if you have no clue where to begin, You should try. Webull allows you to start investing in stocks with as little as $5, commission free.
Hey, brother.
The out-of-place cameos you see in films like Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I swear, if I hear that Wonder Woman theme one more time in a movie, I'm gonna start tweaking. You'd see some casual comments
Shit
here
like
and
that.
there on the more outlandish or silly elements of Wonder Woman mythos. Some argue that her invisible jet is stupid, but like, dude, it's an invisible jet. How's that not cool? It's a good demonstration of some of the unique traits of the Wonder Woman lore that often don't get explored in media. Being molded from clay by her mother and brought to life by the gods, for me, is the preferred origin for Wonder Woman over her being the biological daughter of Zeus. That's
He
far
just
more
got that
unique and
day because
specific
he
to
was
her
kind of
character
scared. They
than
don't
being
buy
like the
that shit.
50 millionth
He
child
didn't
of
even know what
Zeus.
that
Because
shit
if I'm
was.
being honest, that's a little boring.
Greetings. I'm Wonder Woman, but you can call me by my real name, Diana. I was born on Themyscira, the secret island home of the Amazons. As a child, I grew up believing I would remain on Themyscira with my Amazonian sisters. That is, until I learned a big secret. Would you like to hear it? I learned that I was the daughter of Zeus, ruler of the gods.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
I feel this feels a little too outlandish or unrealistic and took a turn for the worse temporarily when the New 52 came about. Pre-New 52, the Amazons were created by three goddesses where the souls of women who were killed by men would be reincarnated into the Amazons of Themyscira to form a society of warrior women. I think more adaptations should lean in more on the Greek mythology side of things, as that creates interesting stories to tell with the vast roster of Wonder Woman side characters and villains. But the New 52 came along and they were like, oh. There came the infamous retcon on the creation of the Amazons, where instead they would reproduce by growing on ships. Those themselves led to the sailor men who were on said ships, then kill them all once they were done with them and would just throw them off into the water. I know a couple of characters off the top of my head who would make for great Amazons in the New 52. To make matters even worse, if a baby turned out to be a boy instead of a girl, that baby would be forced into slavery while the girl would get to live in paradise. You guys might be sick to my stomachs, but I'm pretty sure this all got retconned. It's just fewer
That,
and
that's
well,
mellow,
that
nigga.
doesn't know if
Keep
it's
calling him.
comics. On the same topic of the New 52, this also birthed the temporarily short relationship between Wonder Woman and Superman. I'm not here to bash on you if you so happen to like this pairing. All I'm saying is that Superman is an active hero when it comes to the girl he's with. If the girl's name is not Lois Lane, don't run that theory. Also, the members of the Trinity work better together as friends to begin with.
You're sure it's a good idea? This feels right. Can't let it rest, can you?
Not that I want to.
You still owe me a computer. Might take a while. Reporter's salary. Always has to happen in this kid. What'd you get him?
Oh, here, I'm spoiled a surprise.
He's not the easiest person in the world to buy birthday presents for.
Bruce, you didn't get him a gift certificate.
No. Cash.
Some of these changes to the Wonder Woman mythos, and especially the origin of the Amazons, have been weird, but would you believe me if I said Zack Snyder wanted the Amazons in the DCEU to be Kryptonians?
What?
There were some ideas being tossed around on the possibility of some of the Greek gods, like Zeus, being Kryptonian, tying Wonder Woman's heritage with that of Krypton.
Possibly a Kryptonian. And
Speaking,
then,
of your-
so that Wonder Woman's powers. Anyway, you can sort of see where that's going. You know, because the whole thing of like whether or not magic and the gods, there's a version where like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but like, there's also the more sort of scientific kind of, you have like mythology built up of like why, where do gods come from? Like, what is that about? And so anyway, we had played around with that quite a bit.
That's actually hilarious. I think we all know why this is just a awful concept. I mean, my lord, connecting Themyscira with Kryptonian heritage is completely nonsensical because one, why would their abilities work differently than that of Superman if they've been exposed to Earth's yellow sun this whole time? And two, it makes the universe feel that much smaller and gets rid of any of the uniqueness of Wonder Woman's mythology and backstory, which makes her stand out in comparison to other DC characters. On top of that, you're removing a lot of the fantasy elements of the DC universe. Oh, look, guys, he's just like Superman. Isn't that great? Even though this never became a reality, the fact that this was even discussed or talked about makes me glad most of the cooks in the DCU kitchen no longer have access to the utensils because they were about to manifest some dog poop, more so than they already have. But Snyder's BS doesn't end there, unfortunately, as he yet again revealed as to why he was the wrong person to helm the DC IP. So apparently he had this idea tossed around about a scrap of Wonder Woman 1854 film where it would focus on her experiences in various wars throughout the years, finding lovers on the battlefield. But since she's immortal, the men would age out or die. They date her for about a decade or so, but then they'd feel sad because they would see Diana being nice to the next young soldier and come to the conclusion and realization that, oh, I'm being replaced. Snyder also shared a photo on Twitter with Wonder Woman holding 3 severed heads. So basically, this scrapped film would have been the utter and complete character assassination of Wonder Woman and going against everything she stands for.
America's on a straight marathon.
Again, these are all scrapped ideas, but he's constantly being in the topic of discussion of lunacy. Oh damn, seems like they won't be continuing with Gal Gadot's iteration of the character in the new DCU. Oh no, they won't be continuing with that actress whatsoever. Ugh. A complete reboot in live action is exactly what this character needs, alongside an initiative to push the character more into the mainstream. A new single-player AAA video game is certainly a step in the right direction, which is surprising how this would be the first Wonder Woman game, well, ever to come out. The new DCU has a lot of opportunities to delve deeper into Wonder Woman's lore with her supporting cast of characters like Donna Troy or Cassie Sandomark. We'll be getting our first look into this new iteration of the Amazons in the prequel series Paradise Lost, set before Diana's birth, so basically like the Krypton show but for Wonder Woman. I just need some of the same love given to Batman and even a bit of Superman as of late with a new Superman cartoon and with a new movie on the horizon. And it's a Wonder Woman as well because people debating her popularity and impact on the comic book genre and questioning if she's even iconic is blasphemy. Seeing the wonders that was done for the character of Iron Man because of the MCU, who wasn't even that well known pre 2008, imagine what a proper interconnected universe could do for a character that's already one of the most recognizable superheroes of all time.
Expedia members get member prices and rewards for future trips. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
We charge you. They put their names in arenas. We put.
Well, never in a million years did I think I would see the day. A monkey in a Batman suit. Look at DC over here trying to whoopify my comics. We already got them darkies in the Bat family, notably two via Luke Fox as Batwing and Duke Thomas as Signal, but that's way too much if you ask me. I gotta stop playing too much, bro.
Yo,
I get too
what?
deep. I'm trying to
Piece
have
of
Dr.
black nigga.
contact me saying I've been excommunicated from my own people.
And he's been excommunicated from the black people.
That's dangerous.
He's always get some paperwork in the mail.
You know.
That lets him know we're snatching his melon.
Y'all may or may not remember that DC 5G initiative from a few years back that really didn't work out as planned. It was this initiative to introduce a multitude of new characters to the forefront and essentially create the fifth generation of heroes to become the center focus of the DC universe to tell new stories. It would be in a timeline set decades into the future where the generation of heroes we've become accustomed to would be a lot older and would need new characters to take up their mantles. Remnants of this idea were present in the Future State comics that were released a few years back. Future State showed a possible future that showed the whereabouts of the Justice League characters, in which the OG Trinity would be sidelined, and the new Trinity would consist of Jonathan Kent as Superman, the son of Clark Kent Superman, Yara Flor as Wonder Woman essentially, and Jace Fox as Batman. I remember the sheer confusion and disinterest I had when reading about the plans for this new initiative. I'm over here looking at this new Trinity like, man, pretty much nobody was on board with this idea, as it seemed pretty pointless to push a new Trinity of sorts as the major pillars of DC, especially when it was during a time where DC had yet another relaunch not too long prior. Also, I'm not sure how that idea would have rejuvenated comic sales by having a bunch of characters most people aren't fond of or familiar with to replace the OG characters people wait these comics for. The plans for this pretty much fell through when Dan DiDio was fired from DC in 2020. The Future State Batman books showed a timeline where Batman was presumed presumed dead thanks to the actions of the Magistrate, a private security force that took control of Gotham in this dystopian future. I'm talking 24/7 surveillance all over the city, and they acted almost like an authoritarian regime. They also outlawed all vigilante activity and declared heroes like Batman or any other Bat family crime fighter to be criminals. Bruce Wayne was also presumed to be shot and killed thanks to the actions of said organization. So you have Bruce on the run, hiding access, hideouts, gadgets, money, nothing. Tim
Melo,
Fox,
come on,
Chase,
nigga.
as he likes to call himself, was revealed to be the eldest son of Lucius Fox, or Luke Fox, aka Batwing's older brother. He had a very strained relationship with the rest of his family.
I'm glad you know I was gonna agree with that.
Jace was called by Lucius to return
Right,
to
right.
Gotham after Lucius acquired the entire Wayne
Wasn't gonna
Enterprises
miss steering
fortune
wrong with it.
technology after Bruce Wayne's supposed death. When he was 17, Jace, or Tim at the time, was driving and accidentally hit an innocent bystander on the road, killing him in the process. Once he figured out what happened, he fled the scene and went to his father Lucius for help. Once Lucius dealt with the situation, Tim was sent to a military academy / international boarding school, where once he graduated, he basically became a mercenary and came into contact with Katana and worked on with her, where she taught him how to fight and whatnot. Considering that the Future State books were short-lived, and with the Spectre suggesting that Wonder Woman's vision of a possible future may or may not come to pass, it's pretty much code for the Future State events not being the canon future, since they haven't touched those stories since they ended, but rather integrated a few of those characters into the main timeline. I think some of the glaring issues with the idea of Jace Fox becoming Batman is how it's kind of a weird decision to have someone with barely any ties to the Bat family take up the mantle in the event of Bruce Wayne's supposed death. Sure, he's the
Yeah,
son of
fucking
Fox,
that
brother
though,
of
man.
Luke Fox, characters closely associated with Bruce Wayne.
Hell no! No!
Any of the prominent Batman-oriented characters. There's a lot of discussion surrounding who should take up the mantle of Batman after Bruce Wayne retires, dies, or
Yeah, you gotta chill
isn't
out.
capable of
You
being
excited, bro.
Many will say Dick Grayson, since he's done
You
so a
know.
couple of times in the past, and had the most notable run as Batman in main continuity, where Damian Wayne became his Robin after Bruce Wayne was presumed dead. You could also make the argument that the whole point of him becoming Nightwing was to escape Lucius' shadow and become his own hero.
Nope.
How long has he been gone?
2 weeks, 1
Move.
day,
Come in.
15 hours. But he's
No,
never
nigga.
been gone this long. 25 years.
That's king.
He doesn't return soon.
I know.
What?
Everybody else in my news, even when you disappear, I can't get away from you.
I can't win. If he never came back, then you get to keep that suit.
I struggled
The
for
fuck out of
years
here,
to get
boy.
out of Bruce's shadow, to build a life for
Go.
myself, and the last thing I
Go.
want is to be
Oh,
this
nigga.
damn thing.
Can.
I have to give that idea of two sides of hail. Tim Drake could be a good candidate.
Anybody
The
2K.
detective out of the Bat
Anybody
Kids, with
2K.
his intelligence and stating that one day Tim will surpass him as the world's greatest detective. If it's set in the future, Damian Wayne would be
That's a travel.
something he constantly strives for, believing himself to be the true
Let's
successor.
get the fuck out of here. Go, Metal.
Maybe you could go the classic Batman.
Find me.
Guinness,
Come on.
maybe Cassandra Cain. Like there's so
Come
many
on. You gotta fall through
people
me.
always go back and forth on who should be
Yo,
the
if you
Batman, but
know,
the actual true
if you
answer
know,
has been
where's
right in
right?
front of our faces this whole time.
Metal, what
Honestly,
the
cannot
fuck
think
is
of
that,
anyone
bro?
more qualified.
Stop,
Even
bro.
though
You're
his
moving so
dedicated
slow.
continuity
Yo,
and
Metal.
person
Come
he
on,
would
bro.
properly continue the Batman legacy is out
Oh,
there.
no, no.
Yes, you.
What the fuck, man?
Secret. I have.
Bye.
It's all right, Alfred.
Funny how you and the Batman have been in the same place at the same
I mean,
time tonight.
what are you doing? Ah!
There's no horizon tonight. It's universal. There's a few small steps you can take to see.
Come on, thank you. Come on.
No, I know.
Listen, it's not hard. So considering most of the characters mentioned are still around in Future State, it makes it even more questionable that the mantle would
One.
be taken by some random guy who's never shown up in any of the Batbooks. Even if it had to be a brother to become the next Batman, you could have just gone with either Duke Thomas or Luke Fox, considering they've actually trained under or closely with someone who would be less qualified, lacking the high-quality training compared to the rest of the Robins, the understanding of being a Gotham vigilante, and the insight into what Bruce wanted to accomplish with his mission. Like, who is this nigga?
Who
with these niggas.
Oh, I cried last night. Maybe they wanted to add some more melanin in the Bat family, considering there's only like 3 black people. Maybe they could have introduced him as his own hero, but taking out the mental of Batman is just odd. Again, it wouldn't be as problematic if he was actually associated with the Bat family beforehand and trained under Bruce. Jace would later be brought into the present day timeline slash main canon, since the future state timeline isn't the canonical feature of events to occur. When he was brought over into the main canon, he had his own solo book titled I Am Batman that lasted for about 18 issues before getting cancelled. He worked under his father Lucius in Fox Tech, where he stumbled upon a bat suit and discovered that Bruce Wayne and Lucius Fox were supplying Batman with a bunch of arsenal and tech. He worked with a close friend of his to hack the suit's technology to use the suit for his own sole purpose in crime fighting. Jace uses it to try to stop a riot between hired professional hitmen disguised as radicals and the GCPD. The hitmen were hired by a billionaire who secretly ran a trafficking ring. Batman was initially blamed for the riot on social media after a wide spread of misinformation, shifting the narrative against his favor. So Jace gets the bright idea to call up his homeboy to help him design his own fancy custom bat suit made with materials like graphene, along with non-Newtonian fluid and whatnot. Jace feels the urge to make a difference and seeks a way to inspire change as a means of moving on from the grief over a mistake he made as a teen. Eventually, Jace would move to New York, where he would be the primary Batman in that area, and ditched the faceplate he initially wore to convey the fact that he was his own man. He even took up the mayor's deal in joining the Special Crimes Unit for the police force in New York. It's one thing to have Jace Fox become Batman where Bruce Wayne and Batman are presumed dead, but to have him become Batman while Bruce Wayne is still active out and about in present day just seems really redundant and pointless. I don't understand the need for there to be another Batman alongside Bruce. 2 Batmen coexisting as the new status quo is just weird. The idea of someone else becoming Batman only works if Bruce is either retired, physically incapable of being active as Batman, or is thought to be dead. Imagine if Tim Drake or somebody was like, yeah, I'm old enough, I'm gonna become the next Batman and relocate to Chicago or something while Bruce is still active in Gotham. It's like, what are you doing, fam? As expected, there was a lot of controversy online when they announced that Jace Fox would take up the mantle of Batman. You got your article headlines making it a bigger deal than it actually was, since it was him replacing Bruce Wayne in an alternate timeline that's not even canon.
Oh
In a
shit,
line
it's the
of books
fourth
that lasted
quarter.
only 2 months, further
I even
enraging the side of the
peed.
fandom that weren't even keeping up with comics to begin with. You also got the flip side praising the idea of Jace Fox being Batman, thinking it's revolutionary when having yet another person being Batman in the main timeline is a dumb concept to begin with. Even if the purpose was solely to be a gimmick, Jace Fox's Batman isn't something that people discuss much, simply a concept that has now faded into obscurity. Regardless if you read comics or not, he's pretty much been forgotten about. One thing I will say though, despite my grievances on the concept of a new Batman in current canon, his bat suit is fire, bro. Like, that design is too clean to be wasted. Niggas the fucking drip, man. You crazy? Yeah, my nigga.
So you wildin'.
Fucking drip, man. Hold on, B.
It's a fine,
Hold on,
nigga.
B. Fucking drip. He got the double nugget teeth. Are you fucking stupid? I don't think Jace is a horribly written character or anything. I just don't see the purpose in adding yet another character in the Batman roster of sidekicks or heroes, despite how bloated it's become in the past handful of decades. Seriously, we have got to stop adding so many people to the Batman. I guess a key difference with Jace is how he relocated to New York once he donned the mantle in main canon, but I don't really see a reason as to why there needs to be yet another Batman in a city that isn't even that far away from Gotham. Batman Incorporated already has Bat-themed heroes across the globe. You've got vigilantes like the Batman of China or Japan, for example. Now we got the Batman of Brooklyn. Yippee, I guess. I don't even know when the
Yeah, this
last time
nigga's
Jason
arguing the
Momoa
call, yo.
or even
You fouled
mentioned
me.
in any of the Bat books that have been
What's wrong
coming
with
out
this
recently.
nigga, man?
Literally, no one talks about
Give
this
me the
character,
treat. Come
so
on.
that tells you all you need to know on whether or not having him as Batman was even successful. Personally, I don't really care to see more of his character, as I think the Bat family mythos can do just fine without adding.
And we're back. The team is looking down the barrel of a
See his
455.
eyes, my nigga. What am
There's
I
a very
missing?
popular belief
You
among average
are
Batman
shit with
fans
these
that
guys.
Bruce Wayne is the mask and Batman is his true self. I see this take all of the time, and the first defense people will come up with is how, well, Batman said it himself, and there's a very popular belief among average Batman fans that Bruce Wayne is the mask and Batman is his true self. I see this take all of the time, and the first defense people will come up with is how, well, Batman said it himself and Batman Beyond at the DCAU
true. It's definitive that Bruce Wayne is just a facade. The boys kept calling me Bruce. In my mind, that's not what I call myself. What do you call yourself? I suppose you would, but that's my name now. Tell that to my subconscious. You know, it's a cool little clip and all. It's a nice scene between Bruce and Terry, but, well, I disagree. I feel like it's kind of disingenuous to adopt the mentality that Bruce Wayne died that night in Crime Alley. He's been nothing more than Batman ever since. And I'm like, all right, buddy, relax. Sure, the Playboy party boy persona is a mask as he conveys a certain image to conceal his Batman identity, but saying the entirety of Bruce Wayne is just a mask, even when he's around his closest allies and loved ones, is just something I don't agree with at all. Like, if there's an instance of Bruce Wayne throwing it back for the one time, then yeah, obviously that's just an act.
Yeah, there he is, man. Nah, Red's a fucking economy.
Wayne was known for his colorful antics. So, that's the video Bruce wanted planted.
He knew how to make a cover story. The footage is supposedly from a GCPD sting operation. Exactly when Batman was last fighting Two-Face. You know, I'd almost forgotten he used to do stuff like this. The best part is, he did it so often, no one's gonna realize this is from a different night. But I'm not gonna sit here and yap all day without showing the receipts. Let's take a look at the pages of Bruce Wayne Murderer and Bruce Wayne Fugitive. The story starts out with Batman out on patrol alongside Sasha Bordeaux, who was hired to be Bruce Wayne's personal bodyguard. After a while, she found out that Bruce Wayne and Batman were one and the same, and since Bruce couldn't fire her and let her go knowing a secret, he let her be a part of the loop and become a crime fighter. Bruce and Sasha learned that Bruce's interest, Vesper Fairchild, in the living room of Wayne Manor. The entire premise of the story is Bruce Wayne being framed for Vesper Fairchild as the actual killer,
Yeah, can you
carefully
like,
planted evidence
can you get the
suggesting that both
footage for
Bruce
this
and
game or no?
Sasha. There was a fabricated
You,
911
I
recording
could
of
clip it.
Vesper crying out for her life, that she was beaten, then shot to death.
Can you
The
please clip
DA
it and then
charges both
upload
of
it?
them with
Friendly
first degree
Friday with
murder
Melo.
when they're taken into
The
custody. And
40
things
stars,
go
40
downhill for Bruce during the initial Gotham City versus Bruce Wayne fight. Bruce's defense attorney points out how he's done a lot of good for the city, especially after the events of No Man's Land, where Gotham experienced a massive earthquake. He played a major part in rebuilding the city and has
I
been
shot that shit.
associated with
Bring my
several
shooting
of
class.
the
I was
civic,
telling that.
communal, and environmental support systems for Gotham. How's that for the whole Bruce Wayne doesn't use his money to help Gotham nonsense? Unfortunately, Bruce gets denied bail and ends up in jail. The more time he spent in a jail cell, the more he noticed how his life was falling apart. Wayne Enterprises' stock was plummeting, and people believed his parents' murder might have caused a psychological break that drove him to commit murder. And more notably, it prevented him from doing any work out in the field as Batman. So he does what any sensible person would do and escapes police custody while being transported back to Blackgate Prison in the DA's office. So now Bruce Wayne is an escaped convict. But the crazy part is when the Bat family all meet up in the Batcave, he explains to them how he is forever putting the Bruce Wayne persona behind him and will become Batman full-time, while the rest of the world believes Bruce Wayne just led the country to Santa priesthood. He takes it as far as whenever an ally or one of the other Bat family members would call him Bruce, he'd be like, no, it's Batman now. I ain't Bruce Wayne no more, stating how Bruce is a mask he'd been wearing since childhood, which has been nothing more than a liability. Nightwing especially doesn't take kindly to Bruce just giving up and proving his innocence, noting how it wasn't Batman but Bruce Wayne who raised him. It was Bruce Wayne who adopted Dick Grayson. For a brief period, he was fully committed to this. He abandons Wayne Manor and the Batcave entirely to set up shop in a small hideout in the tunnels. Now there was nothing getting in the way of his mission, and he finally felt free. The story puts a big emphasis on the Bat family trying to figure out what actually happened, using the skills of Barbara Gordon, Tim Drake, Alfred, Nightwing, and Cassandra Cain to piece together the puzzle. The tie-in issues across the different Bat family books have them slowly acquiring new clues or leads into proving Bruce Wayne's innocence, while also tackling how some of them question
I'm
his
not sure if
innocence
you're gonna
at
want the
first
footage
for a short
because it's gonna
period,
have
since
the
the evidence
video
plans
playing
were so
in
strong
seconds. I
against
ain't
Bruce.
muted.
Nightwing throughout the entire story was convinced Bruce would never commit such a heinous
I
act,
want this
despite what
footage.
others thought at the time.
Amazing
Several
you
months went
tell
by
his
with
mother.
Batman working working full-time as a crime fighter, while the Bat family searched for evidence of his innocence.
Stop
It
it,
isn't
nigga.
until he visits a dying retired police officer, Gary Sloan, who worked on the case of Thomas and Martha Wayne's murders, that Bruce starts to regain his clarity. He calls Batman to see if he could crack the one case he put in as his sort of dying wish, which is to actually solve the murders of Bruce's parents. He was one of the only few people left in Gotham that was certain Bruce would murder in cold blood ever since he met him as a child the night his parents died. Bruce finally starts to communicate with the Bat family to figure out what actually happened and who murdered Vesper Fairchild and framed Bruce. Right before the killer confesses his wrongdoings to the authorities, proving Bruce Wayne's innocence, Batman has an epiphany, thinking to himself how he initially thought Bruce Wayne died along with his parents, and the mask he's shown to the world is what remained prior to that night. But he comes to the realization that was never the case, because his code of honor and ideals he operates from come from his father, Thomas Wayne, which is a main part as to why he doesn't kill or let others die, as his father wouldn't either since he was a renowned surgeon. Thomas Wayne believed in the sanctity of all life. He finally realizes Bruce was never the mask, closing the issue with, "I am Bruce Wayne, and I always have been."